Do you find yourself getting jealous of all your friends' flashy wheels and tire setup? Do you want to be top dog in your group of friends? Or maybe there's that one mud bog that you just haven't been able to go through on your stock tires and wheels. Possibly you're just here because you feel the need to overcompensate for something downstairs. Today on Rebels Off-Road, we're going to be going from this to this.
It's beautiful.
And we'll be seeing if they fit without any modifications, as well as what the power loss is with these new bigger tires. But before we do, we're going to compare the tire weight to the stock OEMs, as well as measuring the true size of these 36s. So we're going to get right into it, but please, please, please first go smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We got a ton more videos coming up with reviews, installations, as well as data about product and riding videos that you're not going to want to miss. Only about 8% of my viewers are subscribers, and that's unfortunate for them because they might miss out on a very entertaining, informative video like this one. So don't be that guy, but subscribe to my channel.
Trust me, you're not that guy.
We're gonna get right into it. So first up, the stock Carnivore with the 15-inch beadlock wheel. These are OEM for the Kawasaki KRX. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up on the bathroom scale and see what it comes in at. Try not to put any weight on the tire, just hold it. 53.4. Then lift it up, let the scale go back, do it again. 53.4. And we'll do it one more time, just to be sure that that's the correct weight. And 53.4. So, stock Carnivores, 15-inch beadlocks, 53.4. All right, let me tell you a little bit about the tires and wheels that we're putting on here. They are the Outback MAX'Ds, and they come in a 36 by 9 by 20-inch tire, and I have them on the STI HD4 20-inch wheels. I think they're gonna do really well on our side-by-side, but they're advertised to be 51.3 pounds a piece for just the tires. Out on the wheels might be 20, 30 pounds, not sure yet. But we're gonna weigh both the tires and the wheels together to find out how much weight we're adding to the bike. So we do expect these to be a lot heavier. Whenever you have these big wheels and stuff like that, it's always going to weigh a little bit more, as well as a mud tire. A true mud tire is always going to weigh a lot more than an all-terrain like the Carnivore.
You can never, I'm going on too long, I apologize.
We're going to weigh these and see what the difference is. 75.8. 75.8. And we'll do it one more time just for good measure. 75.8. All right. And so that's about 22 and a half, a little less than 22 and a half pounds heavier than our stock Carnivore. For a mud tire in this size, that's not that bad actually. So we're gonna go ahead and measure them up and see if they're true to size and then get them installed. I totally didn't mount these before measuring them, okay? So just, okay. So, yeah.
What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that? Mind tricks don't work on me.
All right, so I have it held down there, and then I'm pulling it up here, and it looks like it is just about at 35. So here's the deal on these tires.
But here's the deal, all kidding aside.
The center is actually the highest point on the tire. If we're measuring out here, which is what we did to measure that 35 inches, we actually need to add the difference between this point and the center point, which you can kind of see right there. And we're gonna just approximate it with our measuring tape here. And it looks as if it's just a hair over a ½ inch there. So what that means is if we add that extra inch to that, it actually comes out to be just a little bit above a 36. Looks like it's about 36 1/8 actually inches tall of a tire. So I actually really like that. It's true to size, which you don't find in a lot of tires. So this is a true 36. So just for kicks, we're gonna measure the 31-inch Carnivore that comes stock on the KRX, see if that is also true to size. So we have it over here, got our measuring tape out. Just gonna prop it up against the door here. So got it down there. And we are just gonna look straight across here to see, and look at that. It's pretty dang close to being exactly 31 inches. So that's pretty cool actually, because we'll be able to calculate how much ground clearance we'll have over a stock KRX. Stock KRX is 14.5 inches of ground clearance. So going from a 31-inch tire to a 36-inch tire means 5 additional inches of tire, divide that in half, is 2.5 inches of extra ground clearance. So 17 inches of ground clearance.
12 months divided, it's $3,600, $3,700 for that child divided by 12.
Now, we're probably going to crank up our shock at least another inch, maybe 2 inches. So overall, we should have about 18 inches of ground clearance when it's all said and done. So I just installed them, and now we're gonna just do a little walk around. So real quick, I want you to look at these lugs. They are pretty massive. It's about, see if you can see that, about 1.5 inches in the center. And then at the end, it goes all the way up to, I'm gonna say almost 3-inch lugs on the sides there. And these lugs extend all the way out. So you also get a lot of sidewall traction as well, which is really cool. So the Carnivore actually has better sidewall traction, I wanna say, because of all these features along the sidewall. But when it comes to the center lugs, these are much smaller than the Outback MAX'D. They aren't as suited for the mud. These won't dig as much. They're better for like sand and stuff like that. But when you get into the real mud, you really want to have those big, nice lugs on your tires to paddle you through the mud. So we've used Outback MAX'S on 4-wheelers. My buddy actually currently has 30-inch Outback MAX'S on his Can-Am XMR 1000. So we know the performance of this tire is really good. This is the first time I've had it on a side-by-side, but I think it looks really sharp, really good. And my buddy's also used 34-inch Outback MAX'S on his side-by-side in the past and was very happy with them. So I'm going to put a link down in the description where you can buy these tires. It's one of the best prices I've found for these tires. I must make you aware though that this is an affiliate link, meaning I will get a small percentage for a qualifying sale. It comes at absolutely no additional cost to you, and this is one of the best prices I found on these tires. Any money that I get from affiliated links go directly back into the channel so we can bring you more great content like this. So consider using the link if you choose to buy them. So next we're going to see if these tires fit without any rubbing, or if we need to modify something in some way to get these tires to fit. Of course, the fronts are the worst, and when turning is the worst, so we're going to take a look at that first.
So when you turn the tire, they do rub down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some heat and I'm going to mold the plastic a little bit so that they don't rub when you're turning all the way. And also we're going to raise up the shocks a little bit. Basically going to crank down that spring. So let's bike up a little bit more. We'll get a little more clearance for that.
So it's not that pretty, but what I did was I took my torch here. Heat gun would have worked better, but couldn't find my heat gun, so use this torch and a piece of tubing and heated up the plastic, put a lot of good pressure on it, and just rolled it like that as the plastic was kind of in that soft formable. You don't want to get it too hot or else it'll just stick to the metal. It's able to get a little more clearance out of that. Hopefully it won't rub. We're going to still jack up the shocks here. Right now they're a little sagging. Have a little bit more adjustment out of them, so hopefully we can get it up a couple more inches.
Question.
What?
Are we not saying phrasing anymore? Which, that's fine, whatever, but if we're doing a new thing and nobody told me, that I'd have a problem with.
So went ahead and cranked down the shock. To do the fronts, you actually have to remove the shock body. There's a couple videos out there on that, but basically you have to take this off. There's a bolt up there and a bolt down there. First, lift up the center of the suspension, so it's basically, you know, hanging down. You don't have to remove the tires. They actually just sit there. And then once you get the shock off, I put it in a vise, and then you use a chisel and a hammer to knock off that lock ring and then crank down the adjuster ring to your specified value. I turned it about 10 times per side, and that seemed to be about 1 inch of lift. We're gonna measure the clearance now, and we'll see if we did that correctly. So kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can see that bend is right at 18 inches. So 10 full turns on the adjuster ring per inch seems to be about right for the front. That might be a little bit different for the rear just because of the angle that the shock comes out on the front. But what we're really concerned about is if the tire is going to rub. And so far, before cranking down the rings, it did rub a little bit. We molded the plastic. That helped a lot. But let's see how close it is Now, over here on the left side of the machine, have the wheel turned almost full lock, and we have a little less than 2 fingers in between the plastic in here. When this wheel flexes, it might rub a little bit, but for, you know, going straight, turning, as long as we aren't off at an angle or something like that, this I think is gonna work. Did have to remove my fender flares. As you can see, there's just no way that they're gonna fit with this current setup. I am gonna get offset A-arms so that I can run fender flares in the future, but for now, we just took them off, and I think this is gonna work. So I think that's your answer. You can run 36s on a stock bike. You just need to crank up the shocks and mold the plastic just a little bit to keep from rubbing, but you will not be able to run fender flares. In the future, we will see if offset A-arms are enough so that we can run the fender flares again. So now we're gonna do a little run with the new tires on, see how it handles in high gear first, and then we'll take it off-road a little bit in another video to see how low works. But we're just gonna do a little run right here and see how it handles it. There is a little bit of vibration from the tires, being that there's bigger lugs on it, but surprisingly smooth for how big the lugs are. We're gonna go wide open for just a second and see what the pickup is. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So definitely feel like it's a little bit more sluggish when you first take off. No doubt that's due to the weight on the tires. So these KRXs are really limited on power because of the RPMs. Their gearing is so low that it actually will rev out before it will reach its top potential speed. So we've heard that adding 35-inch tires actually raises the top speed, and I really think this is the case. In fact, 36s may even raise the top speed even more. Of course, I'll have to take it out to a long straightaway to confirm this, but that's my initial impression. Also, we'll have to take it to some really deep mud this weekend to see how it does in that really thick stuff. I don't think we'll have any problems with it just based on my running around in the yard and stuff, but we'll have to see. I do have a Dyno Jet tuner, so stay tuned for that, no pun intended, because we will be doing a before and after on the tuner, see if it eliminates that initial lag on takeoff and see if it improves the top speed as well. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned for that. You're gonna stay tuned for the riding video that's gonna come out next week when we show off these tires in the mud. So make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you're already subscribed, thanks, and see you next time.